Hello everyone and welcome back to your piano lesson. If you are here for the first time, I am Gianluca Fronda, your virtual piano teacher. If you want to discover interesting facts about me, you can watch the introduction video of this channel. I'm leaving the link in the description of this video, where you will find also the link for my artistic channel, Gianluca Fronda, pianist and composer, if you're interested in original music and covers. Talking about this channel, don't forget to subscribe and let me know about yourself by commenting. Tell me when you have started, if you're finding my channel interesting and you're improving your skills also thanks to my videos. And don't forget also to share with your friends if there is anybody interested in piano music, anybody that you know. So now time to go to our lesson. And today is finally time to play Peasant Dance. I am on page 35 of the John Thompson C6 Piano Course Part 3. This piece, for many students, at least in my case, is the last one or maybe the second last before proceeding with the grade 1 program, especially those that are looking for a scholarship, so they are really interested in achieving grade 5 as soon as possible. And there is a specific reason, because it's possible that you might find something in grade 1 with 2 sharps. In the past it was even required the D major scale for grade 1, and indeed I've anticipated which one is the main problem of this Peasant Dance, is the key signature. You know already what does it mean, key signature, because you have discovered it in Thompson Part 2. When you have 1 sharp, you know that you are in G major. When you have 1 flat, you know that you are in F major. Now it's time to discover the D major scale, the D major key signature. Indeed, with 2 sharps we are in D major. Thompson is asking you to play the scales and the arpeggios. Actually, until today Thompson never explained or never mentioned the word arpeggio, because you know, for example, about broken chords, and indeed we have done broken chords. And you might say, but what does it mean, arpeggio? The arpeggio is, let's say, a broken chord that has been extended. Also, if you go on the last page of this book, where there are the scales, you find scales and chords, not scales and arpeggios. So, in case you have no idea what an arpeggio is, it's a simple broken chord extended. Since you know, for example, about the C major broken chord, that you have played in this way, an arpeggio would be played in this way. This is a 2 octaves arpeggios, or a G major would be this one. It's a simple introduction. You might say, but why are you using the 1, 2, 3? It's needed because there is a very urgent need of the thumb passage, and is a more complicated one, and the one that I've explained and shown a little bit when playing the scales that we have at the end of the book, you see? So let's go indeed now to the D major scale. And which one is it? It's exactly this one. It's time to add also D major. The D major scale, as I already mentioned, is 1 more sharp, 1 more than the G major scale. In G major we have the F sharp. In D major we have F sharp and C sharp. Start learning a very interesting thing. First of all, the distance in between C and G in a musical way is of 5 notes, including the first and the last. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. C is the one that doesn't have any accidental in the key signature. G is the one having 1. And look, if I move now from the G 1/5 above, what happens? So I start from G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm getting D. D is the key signature with 2 sharps. The distance in between C and G is 5. The distance in between G and D is 5 again. But let's also check the distance in between F sharp and C sharp. F sharp and C sharp. Which one is it? By magic, if you count F, mind the names. F, G, A, B, C is again 5. You will discover that this number, the 5, is quite magic in music. And indeed, we will discover how important as soon as I will explain something that is called the circle of fifths. But let's simply go step by step on, and obviously stay tuned because these things will be all explained on my channel, yeah? Now, which one is the very important practical thing to mention regarding the D major scale? You remember that I have told you that the C major scale is using a specific pattern, specific fingering, that is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you play the last note, since you're playing 1-octave scale, with the little finger, then again the little finger, and then you go down. Inverting simply, now obviously going down, you are restarting from the block of 4 and then the block of 3. See, 3, 4, 5s, and 4 and 3, because you keep the same identical fingering. It's the same when you move to the G major. When you play the G major, you're simply using the same identical one. We can call either C major fingering or standard fingering. But when you move to the D major, is anything changing? Not at all. You're using again the same identical fingering, the same identical patterns. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth because he's asking you to play it again. When you will play the scales for grade 1, you don't need to repeat twice the last note. Block of 3, and that's all. So, C major, G major, D major, they are all of them using the same identical fingering on both sides. I am focusing more on the right, but on the left, you start from 5, you do 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, again 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and you end with a 5. And this the same story when you play the G major. 5, then block of 4, block of 3 fingers, again block of 3 fingers, block of 4 fingers, and 5. And same story today. You start with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5 to end. Obviously, few more scales, just 2 more scales you will discover are using on both sides the same identical fingering, the C major fingering or standard fingering, but not all the scales will be using this fingering. Obviously, have fun playing also the chords at the end. And now it's time obviously to show you how is D major in practice. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. If I want to add also the chords at the end, they are D major chord in root position. You will discover G major. You already know, to be very honest. G major chord in second inversion, back to the D major in the root position, and this is A major chord in first inversion and back to the root position. Where can you find information related to the inversions? You can definitely find exactly on page 29. Root position, first inversion, when you take the bottom note and you push it up, indeed, the C from here was moved up, and second inversion, when you take also this one and you push up, indeed, yeah, now you start from the G, that is the second. But there is a lesson that I have published regarding chord building and inversions that you can find on my channel in the playlist regarding Thompson part 3. And indeed, let me play now also the chords at the end. If I play the whole one, not stopping at all with the right, it will be. Stop. You have noticed that when I have to pass the thumb, so when I finish the first block, there is an action, a quick action of my thumb that let me play then the following passage. And indeed, this is what you have to learn step by step, how to apply properly the thumb passage. And there is also something else in the second part, in the descending part, that is the crossing over the thumb. Indeed, the two main actions when studying the scales are the thumb passage and the crossing over the thumb. And how can you do it? You can make a preparation, pausing on the note before the thumb passage. You simply pause, bringing the thumb here, and then second step might be pausing on the note, where the note played by the thumb. What about the crossing over the thumb? You can do. You pause on the note before the crossing over the thumb, and then you do. And you bring back the position. It is obvious that I have to show you also how to do the left hand. You can play the left hand 1 octave lower. I'm simply playing the D major, the entire one now, also with the left. that you can simply copy the fingering of the bottom exercises and you simply write here. You have noticed that when it comes to left hand is first of all the crossing over the thumb and use the same identical exercise, and then there is the thumb passage. Okay? Anyways, now we can go straight to the Peasant Dance. We are on page 35. This one is quite complicated. Some student has problems when studying this one. You have to simply, obviously, before proceeding, we have to remember that now we have also the C sharp. Every single time you find a C, it has to be played sharp. This is the one of the, let's say, the big news of D major. And indeed, the very first one that you will find is the one that you have in the left. Is the C, so it's not obviously the middle C, is the C just to the left, and is exactly this one, and has to be played sharp. The F sharp is something not new for you. Now I want to play first of all at fast speed at about 130, and then I will explain many things, and then I will play slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and... It's very nice and maybe exciting for many of you, especially for the last part, I believe. So let's now, first of all, talk about the most important things. Thompson is saying something, I read just the first line, play the scale and the arpeggio of D major each day before practicing this piece, okay? Then, be sure to follow the many two-note slur in this piece and put sharp accents on the first of each bar to ensure good rhythm. I think that you have noticed that I have really emphasized pretty much the slurs. Drop, roll, drop, roll, bounce. I would say drop, roll, bounce, drop, roll, bounce, drop, roll, bounce. Luckily, the articulation is identical on both sides, and you know what does it mean. Drop, roll, what does it mean slur, if you have studied well the previous pieces. You have to simply go to page 12 to double check what has to be done to play the slur. I really hope that you have studied well the video, the lesson where I've been talking about the slur and explaining for the first time what does it mean and how to play it correctly. If you haven't done, just do it now before playing Peasant Dance. So this is indeed one of the most important things to keep in account. Mind the mezzo piano. Let it raise when you play then the second part. Analyzing 1 second the left hand is playing simply. I can let you know today that you're playing the A7th chord in first inversion that doesn't have the E. Anyways, this is something that even though you don't get that much what does it mean, it's important you keep in mind. This one would be A major, this one would be A7th, this is A in first inversion. If this is A root position, this one would be A in first inversion. Now, if I add also the G, I'm playing the 7th, you see, I'm taking the A, bringing it here, and I'm taking off the E, something that is done in classical music, and not only, and this is simply an accompaniment using the notes of A major. This is a pattern, and this is another one, is the D major pattern. Here we are, this is the D major chord, indeed. So you play one note, and then the remaining two, one note and the remaining two. Again the same, make an exercise, simply play several times these two patterns, chick, chick, chick. And the very interesting thing, which one is it, is that then, when you start the second part, you are taking simply the position of the right, that is, I think that is quite simple to be understood, third finger on the F sharp, you take him, block the hand, and you move it up to start the second part. The left hand is still using the same identical position, and this is very interesting, is using the same identical notes but in a slightly different way. Instead of playing on the second and the third count the G and the A together, is breaking them, and you're playing them now broken. And you do the same with the D major. You will do the same thing when playing the D major, that is D, F sharp and A. Here you do D on the first, then F sharp and then A. So the pattern is identical. Simply played in a different way. And now, I hope you remember the meaning of the first time bar. This is the repeat sign. What does it mean? When you arrive here, you go back. Then when you arrive here, the second time, you skip these 2 bars and you jump here. And now this is the very exciting part. The very exciting part starts exactly here, where you have to simply move in block both hands from the position that you have kept up to this point, up to the beginning of the second bar, third line. It was exactly this one. Now pay attention. I show you first of all what has to be done. You move in block both hands. So the left hand, the right hand goes exactly here. The left hand goes to the G. So let's repeat. You move from here. The right hand goes up just 1 octave, touching first of all the E from here. And what about the left hand? The left hand is moving up 2 octaves, playing first of all the G. This is a very interesting part, a complicated one. You have to indeed mind the treble clef in the bottom stave, yeah? So again, look what you have to do. From here, you jump here. From here to this position. Repeating, the right hand just 1 octave, the left hand moving up 2 octaves. From here, skipping this, moving here and playing first of all the G. And then the even more exciting part is that what you play here in forte will be played here in mezzo forte, but simply 1 octave lower. You do. And then even more. So they are exactly the same identical notes. E, F sharp and D. E, F sharp and D, 1 octave lower, even one more to the left, even lower, E, F sharp and D. And the left hand, same story. G and D and F sharp in treble clef here. Then again G, D and F sharp very close to the middle C. And then again G and F sharp and D in the bass clef. After mentioning all these things, you have to remember the meaning of this eighth means 1 octave higher. You have to take the notes that should be here according to the position on the stave, and thanks to that sign you move them up. This is the meaning of 1 octave higher, okay? 8 with these lines. And now I can play it slower, definitely, yeah? I will try to play a half speed, about 65. I will try to play keeping the metronome on. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and done the retard down in this way. You respect strictly the music sheet, doesn't matter the title, the metronome. I didn't want to bother you too much with a different articulation, because I don't know if you noticed, in the left hand Thompson decided to not print any slur, same as is done at the beginning. Shouldn't be played same as the right, but I know that is very, very complicated. So if you want, you can try playing the right hand slurred, so drop, roll, and the left hand slightly bouncing. You see? Da-da, da-da, da-da. Two different actions, but this is an exaggeration, I know, I understand. So, if you have any question, don't hesitate to contact me, let me know how it's going, because obviously this one could be considered for many of you the end of this book, and looking forward to start then the grade 1 program. But I will definitely carry on. I will proceed publishing, I believe, all of them, of this book, and then I think that I will be publishing all the remaining pieces of this book. If it's the first time you're landing on this channel thanks to this video, don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.